on. Okay, hello and welcome to the show. This is Becoming an Artist Live with Trey, Ratcliff, that's me. And this is Olivia. How are you, Olivia?
Hello, I'm great.
You're going to find out what she's doing here very soon. We're trying something new on the show. Anyway, this is a travel and photography show, and every time we come to you from a different location somewhere around the world, we talk about travel tips, photography tips, and this whole process of becoming an artist, which really I think we're all doing. And so it's really a show for you, to kind of help you through your artistic struggles, and it's very interactive. You can ask us questions anytime. If this is the kind of thing you're into, be sure to click subscribe and tell your friends, share it with your friends. Right now, we are at my favorite pub in the entire world. Okay, I don't say that lightly, and many people say that. It's a kind of a secret place here in Arrowtown. You know about this secret place.
Yes. It's the worst kept secret, I think.
It is the worst kept secret, and now I just blew it out of the water. They don't even really have a sign. It's called the Blue Door, and it's kind of like this medieval kind of place you have to duck to get into. So we're going to go in there. I'm going to tell you what Olivia is all about and start taking your questions, all right? So join us. Come on in. Here, I'll get the door for you.
Right.
I'm such a gentleman.
It reminds me of the little hobbit door coming in here.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. Jane, are you not supposed to be here? Secret squirrel?
Here.
Okay. All right, hello. Our associate producer is sitting on the floor over there like a true hobbit.
Wow. Look at these pre-prepared drinks.
Yeah, look at this. How did that happen? Good job, producer Jane. So this is a show we do once a week. This particular show, we do about 3 or 4 live shows a week, but this is the one where we recap this larger show we're doing called Becoming an Artist. We just released season 1, and there's 15 episodes. In fact, Curtis, if they go there now, they get like 10% off on the, yeah. Right. Just you'll go to the page on Stuck in Customs. You get all 15 episodes now. You get all my raw files, you get extra tutorials, all kinds of awesome stuff. But it just so happens that in this small world, Olivia showed up into it. She was a high-powered lawyer up north. She quit her job 5 weeks ago.
Yes. And
now she is at rock bottom sitting here with me. This is what rock bottom feels like.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, and the wine is just terrible.
But really, the thing is that she is very interested in photography, like becoming a photographer. And so she is literally going through this process of getting rid of that other part of her life, the lawyering part of her life, and becoming like a full-time creative.
Yes.
Did I get that story right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So why did you quit your lawyering?
Right, well, I was a lawyer for almost 10 years, and before that, in school, painting was my favourite subject, and art history, and I was very much leaning towards that.
Right.
But I also enjoyed English and the sort of intellectualism of English, so I thought law would be a good option for me. I enjoyed practice. I was doing a bit of criminal, I was doing a bit of banking in Singapore, so I've done a bit of different stuff, but there was always that creative passion within me, and I was always told, or you always have this sort of nagging thought in the back of your mind that you can't really make something of it. You can't really have a career in the arts because you need to get a real world job. But as I've gotten older, I've just realised that it's best to do what comes naturally to you. It's hard to explain that sort of constant yearning to that happy spot when you're doing things. That's when I'm really in the zone. Is when I'm doing creative passion, passionate hobbies. Yeah. So
that's a good. I mean, it's a weird spot to be in. In fact, you just said something. You reminded me of an article. My mom sent me. She's always sending me Facebook articles that link off, And she showed me this one. She goes, "Look, if you want your kids to be successful in the future, send them to art school." Yes. Which is something that no one ever would have said 10, 20, 30 years ago. But really fostering this sort of creative part of yourself is very important, because just knowing things used to be a good way to have a job. But now you don't actually have to know anything, because Google kind of knows everything. And if you're creative, then you're able to do almost anything in life. But you really have to foster that creativity.
Yeah, that's right. And it takes a bit of courage, really, to step out of that sort of your 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You've got these set hours, you've got a weekly salary, and to go, hey, I'm just going to follow my heart and see where it goes.
both Curtis and I used to be with Anderson Consulting, which is a lot like a law firm where you have partners and junior partners and all that happy horse shit, right?
Yeah.
And it's tough because if you're a clever person, you can get trapped in that world. And every year you make more and more money, so you're being positively reinforced for not being particularly creative. So it doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
Yeah, so the other aspect, there's another layer with Olivia being here, in that we're testing her out as my co-host for this show.
Woo!
Right?
Woo!
All right, so you guys can be very welcoming to her and be very hard on her at the same time. She can take it, I'm feeling.
Just pelt her with questions.
Yeah, just pelt her with questions, anything. She's an open book, I guess. But
we have one guy that says it's a little dark and they want to see a little more Olivia.
Oh, right. Well, you just aim the camera at her. I understand. I'm really excited about this because, look, I can carry the whole show for half an hour if I want to, but actually I don't want to. It's a little too much. And so she kind of has two roles. We'll grow this thing with you guys, the audience, as we go. We're very responsive to you guys. But so firstly, like functionally, she's like a question bot. Okay?
Yes.
So incoming questions, because it's too hard for me to look at incoming questions, and there's a lot of stuff going on. So she's going to be handling incoming questions. We have Curtis off camera sending her all the comments, all that kind of stuff. So she's kind of picking out things to ask. And then secondarily, she's just going to say random stuff throughout to throw me off, which I like. I like to be surprised. I like randomness. So that's the kind of thing that's going on here. All right.
Curtis, I'm not going to say that.
No, that was a different set of text messages.
Oh. What? Okay. I guess I can't see what that was. All right. Anything coming in now?
Right, we've got Susan Ratcliff. Hello from Napaland.
That's my mom.
Yay!
Hey, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but so we have planned shows that we do where we have like a particular subject matter or an interview that we do. And I do a lot of unplanned stuff. We do these things called Quick Live from a cool spot. And yesterday morning was Mother's Day,
Yes.
here in New Zealand at least. And it was an amazing sunrise. So I went outside with the iPhone and I did a little 10-minute show where I just answered questions and looked out. It was gorgeous. And I said, Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, to my mom, Susan, to my wife, Tina, she's a mom. And then I realized, I walked in today and Tina was talking to her mom, and her mom, Bessie, was really sweet. She goes, Trey, I noticed you didn't tell me happy birthday on the air, or happy Mother's Day. I was like, oh no, I totally forgot.
But it's the day behind. So you
That's
can
true.
always use that one.
I can say happy Mother's Day now, Bessie.
Yes.
And to my sister, who's also a mom. I got a lot of moms in my world.
Right, we've got a question.
Yes.
It's not for you. It's for me.
Okay.
So,
Every now and then we lose broadcast.
go.
We're back. We're live again.
right, Thomas wants to know what kind of camera I'm using for my photography. Right, so I use the Canon 5D Mark II.
Why didn't you get the Mark III?
Well, I was impatient. So the Mark III was coming out about 2 months after I got the Mark II.
Yeah.
And and then I looked at the differences and sort of thought, for the price difference, I can't really justify it because it was my first full frame.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
Well, I'm going to try to sway you. I'm extremely persuasive, Olivia. I'm going to try to sway you into the Sony camp, the Sony mirrorless.
Right.
It's smaller. It's smarter. It weighs a lot less. I think that the electronics are way better. And it's just, I love it. I find the photos to be sharper, and it's just a fun camera.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
My first camera actually was the Sony A100.
A100?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that was.
The very, very first SLR that Sony did. I
really?
understand.
The
Yeah.
A100.
Yeah.
You might be right about
Alpha
that.
100.
Yeah,
That's
the
right.
Alpha series. That's what we used to call them.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, so
Yeah.
definitely open to that, and then I can use my lens baby again.
Well, you like that lens baby is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a fun toy.
So cool.
I like it when people make those weird gadgets for cameras because it kind of makes it fun. You have something to play with, and you have a goal. And I'm actually really between worlds. I've been shooting a Hasselblad H5D.
Right, right.
I didn't buy it. Hasselblad sent it to me to play with.
Oh.
It's incredibly expensive. The camera itself is about $25,000, and each lens is like $10,000. And I guess I could picture myself spending that much money on it But I've only been using it for 4 months, and there is another Hasselblad out now that's 100 megapixels, medium format, so that looks interesting.
Wow.
But I really don't know what to do. Like, so just the other day, I was out at Ernstlaw Burn. You know where that is?
Yes.
That's where they filmed a lot of the Lord of the Rings stuff. It's a really cool glacier with tons of waterfalls. And we actually did a live broadcast from a helicopter as we were flying out there. So I got out there, and Curtis was with me, and I was shooting with a Hasselblad. Okay, I was getting the shots, you know, taking my time. It's a big old beast. The electronics are terrible. The menu system is made by a complete masochist. It's terrible. And then, so I took some photos with that, but I didn't quite have a wide enough angle lens. And I was up close to this waterfall, so I said, Curtis, let me borrow your camera. He goes, sure, of course. So then I got the Sony back in my hands after 5 months not using it. I was like, oh my God, this is so much better. You know, it's so light. The lens is so nice and wide. The electronics are there. There's an automatic HDR mode where it takes, or auto bracketing mode where it pauses 2 seconds. It takes all 3 photos.
Right.
It's great. So then when I held this camera, I thought, oh man, maybe I'm just going to go back to Sony. I don't know. I keep changing my mind. Yeah.
So can it go up to, can it do any more brackets than just 3?
The Sony, no. Can it, Curtis? Can it do 5 brackets? The Sony A7?
Yeah.
It does.
Cool.
Cool.
Oh, it does. Yeah, you're right. It does do 5 brackets.
Oh, nice.
I just do 3 though. I think all you need is -2, 0, and +2.
Sure.
Yeah, that's all you really need.
Right,
I
right.
think. Yeah.
Now, we've got a question from Matthew McCarthy. He said, what would you say to someone who is thinking of leaving their comfortable job?
Oh, right. That's a good question, Matthew.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? It's,
Yeah. Well, actually, on the drive over here, we were having a discussion that, like, you have no idea what you're going to do with your life now.
No.
Like, you have, like, a real job,
Yes.
but now that you've quit, and it's 5 weeks, like, this is when you have, you know, buyer's remorse or whatever. Are you, how does it feel? Do you feel like you made a right decision?
Oh, the thought of never having to record another billable minute just makes me so happy.
Right.
And I think that's a really good indication
Yeah.
that I've made the right decision. You just have to follow here.
Right.
I mean, it's a constant fight really between your logical brain, what you think the right thing to do is, what society thinks you should do, and then what you really want to do, which is follow your passion.
Right.
So I guess the advice would be sort of, if you want to do something more creative, start doing it as a hobby and and see if you can sort of work with it before giving up the security completely. But
yeah, you can kind of do a little bit of a transition. It doesn't have to be completely one way or the other, because there's a lot of hours in the week. You know, I had a. By the way, when you hear that beep, that means that I think there's he just chatted you. That could be our little indication.
Yes.
That's the canary in the coal mine. Yeah, it could be pretty scary, but even while I had a regular job, I would go out at night and weekends and take photos. Or sometimes when I was traveling, I might stay an extra day or two. And like in your off time, you can be extremely productive. I was taking and producing lots of photos. They say that like you can actually be most productive when you're working on what you're not supposed to be working on.
yes,
Right?
yes, that's right. I've heard something similar, that you find your passion when a lot of people are trying to find what their passion is, and I read somewhere that your passion is what you do when you're procrastinating.
Right.
And that's so me. I just
My passion is chocolate.
Yeah. Maybe you should be
chocolatier. Yeah. Do you have another question over there?
Yes, we do. Now, Sandra has asked about your failed attempt at writing, which you discussed in the episode which is on currently. Have you tried again?
Well, Sandra, yes. I have kind of tried. So she's referring to this particular episode is all about how I wrote a failed novel. Not even failed, no one even published it, which I consider a failure, which I don't mind. You know, we don't have to label these things as failure. I don't mean to make it so dramatic, but it was all based on, I had this great teacher in high school, and when I left her class, my last class, she came up to me, she goes, Trey, I'm really going to miss you. You have a really unique style of writing. And I thought, whoa, I did, because I'd never thought that, and it was a really nice thing, and it encouraged me, and I kept writing. But it turns out that, you know, this failure in my mid-20s or whatever, you know, it takes a lot of time and effort to write a novel. right? You got to get your head around it. You got to have a whole theme and sub-themes. And I'm not saying, like, it obviously wasn't a great novel because it wasn't published, but at least I went through the process, and I really enjoyed writing it. And now, you know, for the last 8 years, I've had the blog, and every day, without fail, I make a new blog post. That's 365 stories I have to write a year, along with 365 photos. And so it comes very easy to me to write. I was thinking about this, like, I noticed my wife when she writes emails, and it takes her a long time because she's really thinking about the right thing to say. And if it's one that I can take over, I take over it, and I'm like blah blah blah, and it just flows so easily for me. And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't force myself to do all that writing, even though it's failed. Now it turns out that it's paid off.
That's right. So it's interesting. I mean, the whole idea of failure. Everyone can be quite hard on themselves sometimes, and getting down because they think they failed at something, but it's really just a success. It's just that it's all your failures combined, because you actually get somewhere. You try one route, it doesn't work, you try another, and it just I think it's all just experience instead of failure. It's because it builds up and makes you what you are today.
Yeah, so to answer your question specifically, Sandra, I have written several books, real books like you can hold in your hands, like old school books, and a lot of ebooks. I really enjoy it. I really, really enjoy writing. But who's got the time? Now if I have spare time, I really try to go out and take photos, because that's really my real passion, and I really enjoy that. But there's not enough time to do everything. Not enough time.
How would you describe that feeling when you get in the zone? When you're really...
Yeah. Well, off camera, we just did a fun show with this sculptor named Max Pate. We did it last week. It was a really fun party at Ben and Tam's. And after we were off camera, we started hanging out and having some cocktails and, getting real and stuff. And I have a lot of respect for him. I really respect successful, or any artist outside of my medium that I find incomprehensible, like sculpting, for example. And I said, why are you so calm? He's a really zen guy. And that's like, a lot of people are agitated or uptight, or like most people are like that, right? And I say, well, what made you like that? He goes, I don't know. I started doing more and more yoga, which I do, and I think that does definitely help. And I said, well, do you meditate? He goes, no. He goes, I don't really meditate, which gets to this answer. He goes, I think that when I'm creating, I'm just in the zone, and it's very meditative.
Yes.
Right? And I know the same thing. You lose track of time, and there's no future, there's no past, which are fictions that our brain tells ourselves anyway. It's a story that our brain tells itself, the ego tells itself. And it really does help you to be very focused and present. Yes. And that's one reason we do this show. That's one reason we started the Arcanum. And everything we do, it's almost impossible, I think, to teach 7 billion people on Earth to meditate.
Yes.
But you can teach 7 billion people photography.
That's
and
right.
Photography is a meditation. It is being present.
It is.
And it reminds me, there's this stupid golden nugget of truth out there that keeps going around. Like, if you're at your kid's play or whatever, and you're taking a photo, then you're not enjoying the moment because you're so busy taking the photo. This is a total lie that people keep saying, because when I am taking a photo of my kids, for example, I am fully focused on what is happening right there, right? And I'm even more focused than anyone else, I think, because there's a black box around everything. All I can see is what's in that box, so I am completely focused and absorbed in that moment. I do understand if you're fumbling around with your camera, you don't know how to use it, then that can take you out of the moment, but cameras aren't that hard to use nowadays, Yeah, totally.
So, it's all about mindfulness, really. It's become such a big word.
It has.
And you're right, photography is a form of meditation, and other arts are a form of meditation, painting, pottery.
Right.
It's really, it's
true.
amazing how you get in that zone that really...
By the way, I never asked you this. Let me ask you this. I know we have a question, but I'll ask you a question.
Got a couple of questions, yes.
So I find, I don't want to color your answer with my own observation.
Okay.
But are you noticing more and more conversations in random places about mindfulness and consciousness?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's amazing. I first heard about mindfulness from a GP, actually.
Oh, right.
Yeah, when I was in law, and
Yeah.
and I really thought that was an interesting approach, because it's away from traditional medicine, but it's become really mainstream, and now it seems to be everywhere. And it's just so everyone can do with mindfulness and relax. I'm just reading a book by Arianna Huffington called Thrive, and she said that all the CEOs from some of the biggest companies in the world are all embracing this mindfulness because it brings people to this higher level of productivity.
Right. Yeah. It's
and creativity, and it just
it's counterintuitive, because, and it's especially counterintuitive for CEOs, and because there's usually, to get into those positions and in those places, there's a lot of huge egos involved, right?
Yes.
And mindfulness is the dissolving of the ego, that you're the awareness behind the thoughts, that you're not really all that you think you are, right?
Yeah,
and so it's completely counterintuitive, but I do see it happening everywhere now. Yeah. Sorry, I keep slowing down the questions.
Sure. Right, so I've got a couple
with
of
my
questions.
blitterings.
Right, so Sally Rutter, it's another one from me, Trey.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a favourite subject to photograph, or a favourite mood I like to capture? Now, for me, my favourite subject is my family. So, and that's something I like to capture, because we have these memories. We look back in the fun days, and it's interesting how it ties with mindfulness. So we just had one of the best times I had. I've just been visiting my family out north, and I was out with my nephew and my sister, and we're playing on the grass, and the sun was setting, and we had my camera, and I was just capturing the fun, the real natural play, but it was also really mindful, feeling the grass on your feet, feeling the sun, and just seeing the joy and being able to capture that joy.
Right.
And it'll take me back now.
Right,
when I
and
look
that
at those
moment lasts
photos.
forever.
Yeah, that's right. We've got another
Curtis, our fire is starting over here. We need to stoke our fire.
Right, so Vincent Castillo, he says, I'm a photographer, and I want to know your opinion about going to school for photography. Do you think it's worth the time and money?
No, I think it's a giant waste of time and money. Both. I will recommend something that is very self-serving, but objectively, I would make this recommendation even if I did not start the Arcana. Okay? So, a year and a half ago, we started this thing called The Arcanum, thearcanum.com. Go check it out, ARCANUM.com. Because I know the power of learning photography for changing your life, for changing everything. And I kind of surveyed the landscape out there, because I came into this as an outsider. I'm self-taught, all this stuff. And I find that the way that photography is traditionally taught is terrible. It's quite impersonal, it takes too long, it's expensive, so on and so forth. And so with the Arcanum, we brought back the master and apprentice system in style. Because of course this is ways humans have learned for eons. And then what happened in the Industrial Revolution is they started to standardize schools and treat people like cogs. So you would train to be a thing, and there was a way to be a thing. So they would teach lots of people at the same time because they thought that was more efficient. But this whole school system we have is totally broken. The way you become a master in anything is to have a personal connection with someone that is a master, and they take you on that path. For example, in the olden days, let's say you wanted to make horseshoes, you wanted to shoe horses, all right? Because you knew there was a demand for it, and you were very interested in it. Well, then you would go and you would find a master horseshoeman, and you would hang out with him, and over time, 3 or 4 years, you could learn to do it as well as he could.
Yes.
And then you might look around to town and well, what do I want to do next? I think wagons are kind of cool. Maybe wagon wheels need something. So they're going to find the guy in the town that makes the best wagon wheels. And that guy that makes the best wagon wheels, he makes them artistic, he loves pleasing his customers, he wakes up thinking about wagon wheels, he just loves it. The apprentice will come to love it as much as he does, and that's how you learn to be great in anything. So this is the same system that we brought back with the Arcanum. So you got to check it out. It's super awesome, actually. Yeah.
And so, sorry to interrupt, but you should tell them about this. I was trying to stoke the fire, although it's a little weak now.
We need Chelsea in here.
Whoa.
But I can't get it going quite as high.
Here, try the candle trick.
Yeah, I did a little bit. I've got one more over here.
This one's...
Yeah. You got one. Got one there. Let's see. Well, anyway, tell them about this for a second.
Okay, I'll take this over to the camera. Let's see what's going on here. I'm going to get this guy on a future episode, by the way. He's one of my friends. I can't even, the light's so bright, you just see my crotch. What's going on?
Yeah, you're basically just pointing at your
Okay.
crotch.
All right, here we go. Okay, here we go. Now I'm behind the camera so I can see. So this thing is called the Firebrand by my designer friend, Ed Cruikshank. He makes furniture and all kinds of stuff. Now, I don't know if you can see. Let me aim it head on here.
You're just pointing it at her.
See this?
At Olivia's head.
I know, I am. I noticed that. So there's a whole little hole there, you see, a little hole. And then on the other end, there's another hole, right? Through which you blow. So you can stoke the fire, right? Stoking the fire, and you can blow.
You see how it works? And we're referring to the Firebrand.
Right. Yeah. Right. You see how it works? Does that make sense, Olivia?
It's getting a bit weird in here.
I think we need to head to photo review time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to do it on your computer?
Yeah, hold on, I'll bring them to you.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have, what is Curtis talking about, you're wondering? Well, we have this really fun group on Facebook called the Becoming an Artist group. Anyone can join. And it's like a very safe place for you to share your photos, to ask for advice, to talk about artistic troubles you're having, some struggles, what have you. It's a great place, so please come out, hang out in there, and share your photos. We're going to go in there now, and we're going to find a few photos that I like, and I'll kind of critique them a little bit. I'm going to flip off our bright light. Okay, hold on. Here we go.
Right.
Okay, so here we go.
Got some good ones to choose from.
Yeah, I'm in here almost every day looking at photos. It's a very nice community. They're sharing so many things. I have to be very inspirational. This is a nice one. Let's look at this one. All right, here's a photo by, what's his name?
Augustin Alonso.
That's a cool name.
It is a
right
cool
on.
name.
I love this one. This I always say I love photos that remind me of photos that I would take, which is right. But yeah, I think it's great. It's you know, there's this other fake rule out there that you're not supposed to have the horizon in the middle, which is ridiculous. Oh, I see Tanya commenting. Hey, Tanya, what's going on? All right, she says, I have to go, but have a little wine for me. She sent us 3 red wine emoticons. I'll watch you later. Okay. And then she goes on to say something kind of inappropriate. So anyway, I think it's a cool photo. I like how the horizon's in the middle. That's a rule you're not supposed to do, but oftentimes it works, I think. I do it all the time. I like the swooping of the clouds. I like how the water is coming in here and then it swoops back up here. You know, the eye always catches onto lines and moves around. The colors are nice. It's not oversaturated. That is a really good photo there, Augustine.
Quite dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah, really pretty.
Yeah.
We also had a fun thing on here this week where we all shared links to our portfolios. So people were able to discover each other. You know, this whole thing is really about you guys. And I want you guys to find some new friends and talk about it amongst yourselves, all that kind of stuff, right?
Now, Trey, what do you think the best way to present your portfolio is?
Oh, that's a good question. That is a good question. Personally, I put everything on SmugMug. And we have a SmugMug secret coming up this week, don't we, Curtis? Can we talk about that yet?
No.
That we have no SmugMug secrets. There are 0 secrets to share.
Secret.
I am. All I did is say there's a secret and say the secret.
Yes. So what do they say?
Right.
Watch this channel.
Yeah, watch this channel this week. Watch this channel this week. Cool stuff. You guys will love it. Okay, this is Sean McLean. This is a very cool shot. This is in Portugal. Pedestrian Street in Lisbon, Portugal. We've never been, but we're going to go later this year. Speaking of that, we're going to go to probably 20 or 25 cities this year. We might do workshops in all of them. If you guys are interested, let us know. We're going to start in Australia. In fact, anyway, this is a really cool photo. I wonder if it's taken with a drone. It's great. I don't know how else you get up there, but maybe there's just a tall building at the end. Who knows? Anyway, very smart perspective. The coloring is nice. Nice and symmetrical. Good stuff. Okay. Thank you, guys. Here you go, Curtis. Let me hand this over to you. Your rig's about to fall apart there. Oh, I gave it to Jane. If you flip back on the light, maybe they can't even see me anymore. All right, there we go. All right, you guys. Did you have a fun time, Olivia?
It's been great.
You seem very relaxed.
Drinking wine by the fireplace.
Maybe the wine helped you relax. No, I think she's actually not always like this. So.
Rock bottom's pretty good.
Rock bottom's pretty good. All right, you guys. Well, 1,000 thank yous to my internet friends out there. Love you guys. I'm here for you. And we'll see you at the next show. All right. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.